Now I open the whole discussion to us here in Berlin and also over there in Brussels. And I have some other questions coming from the audience. For example, a question to you, Prince Löwenstein, which the question comes from Zenobiati from LFB. I don't know. Organic farming represents a viable answer to many ecological challenges in agriculture, but as we are currently witnessing decreasingly on its economic challenges. How can we ensure that a new ecological farming era is one where farming income is finally corresponding with farming efforts?
I mean, let's be clear. Of course, you cannot make a European politics which guarantee fair prices to everybody. What you can do is to avoid, for example, surpluses of something which decreases prices in consequence. For example, in the milk market, that's what the case is. I mean, it's really funny that nobody talks about reducing milk production, which is made by feed exported from South America to Germany and then or to Europe, and then the nutrients going to the water and being washed down to the sea. All that should be discussed, and but the whole food system we have right now obviously is not in the interest of the farmers. That's a funny thing, because farmers are going on their tractors and going to the capital and for manifestations, and they ask for maintaining the actual food system, which is very much negative for them. So we have to do something which gives fair prices to farmers, and this has to do with surplus of food we are producing. You have to do quality production, which makes it much easier to get fair prices from the consumer, and we witness that in our organic market. And in the end, which is fair to the natural resources we all rely on.
Thank you. When you say that the industry is not made for the farmers, then I think of the economy, and then I come to you, Dr. Hocker, because your party, the Free Democrats Party in Germany, is normally very much linked to the economy, I'd say. But also in your statement, you said that nobody really wants to pay the prices. People say, yes, I would like to have organic or at least better quality food, but nobody wants to pay for it. So how you can tell us something about that, about the difference between the economical side and the farming side, which is not a contradiction, I know, but sometimes it's just somehow clear that there are some missing parts in it.
Absolutely, there are some missing parts. The problem is that, if a farmer can produce for much lower costs within a European common market, which we all want, and these products are, available in Germany, for example, and consumers buy these products, we cannot ensure that the standards for the products are as high as those standards that German farmers are having and that they are fulfilling every day. And I think there is also a social pressure. People get asked in a poll or wherever, how would you like to have your food? That these tremendous 90% of the answers who say I'm willing to pay higher prices is also part of a social pressure they may have, they may feel, they may know what would be the correct way to consume. But if it comes finally to the point of sale and the decision has to be made, if I choose this, I don't know, part of a chicken or that one, most of them decide for the chicken for the lower prices, maybe from southern European production or somewhere else. I think many has to do with also the fact how politics and politicians have dealt with the farming sector in Germany during the last years, because farmers are always in that corner that they are almost responsible for almost everything, for the pollution of soil and air and water and everything. But I think the whole picture must be different. Of course, agriculture has a big responsibility for all these matters. However, we have to look on the way how people consume and also on other, on other reasons for the pollution of soil, air, and water, and just putting putting the responsibility and putting the burden upon the farmers is way too easy. But because this is happening since a couple of years, I think that society is following this very, for them, easy way to, give responsibility away from themselves, from the way how they consume, to those who are producing the food and the agricultural products.
Yes, please.
May I add something? Wherever I'm talking to somebody in Europe, every country, the farmers believe that it's them only having the most rigorous standards.
This is even within valleys. I come from the mountain area, and in every valley, people tell me, "Oh, in our valley, it's really worse with the neighbors."
As a matter of fact, I believe that, grosso modo, we have quite good competition all over Europe. That's what European policy is about, to guarantee that. And of course, there's always things which can be made better. But our problem is maybe a bit that we have to have a level playing field with the entire world, because we have a globalized market, and that includes that we have to create trade agreements on considering standards as well.
Absolutely.
And not just overlooking them.
Absolutely.
As has been done in all the other, because all the standards you read in these trade agreements are not at all obliging. It's just text.
Right.
And then we can ask farmers to do what they want to do, to protect environment, to treat animals right, and all that. Because farmers, if they get the price for it, are willing to do that.
True.
So it's not a question about accusing farmers when you discuss these matters. And I'm not at all in favor of pulling this discussion down to such an emotional level. It's a fact. And now let's, together with the farmers, I'm a farmer myself, look for solutions for that. But not say, you society, you're accusing me all the time. No, that's not the level we are talking about. Let's talk about the solutions. And it's us who can contribute to that.
Yeah, but I was asked for the link between the consumers and the farmers, and I think this is the link between them. If farmers can really get the prices for the products that they produce, that they need to become. And if you look at the standards, for example, if it comes to animal welfare, look at how cows or chicken or whatever is in how the circumstances are in Germany compared to, for example, Southern European agricultural systems. If you have a look how they really live, I believe that the standards in Germany are higher. And also, if you look, historically back how chicken and cow and pig have been held 30 or 40 years ago, there is a tremendous and huge innovation has been going on. We are having debates today, we are having discussions that has never been held 20, 30 or 40 years ago, and that are not proceeded in other parts of the world. But I still believe that we are on a very, very high standard in Germany. And of course there are also, things that you could increase and could improve. However, I think they're getting bored because we're debating too long.
We have the reactions from Brussels on that. I'm looking forward to what Catherine will say.
Catherine, now I'm doing something not very nice, but I think you nodded your head about what he was saying, so please say it to all of us, please.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry behind the scenes, but it's just such a... Okay.
No, I just wanted to maybe come back to this very important subject that you're raising, which is in relation, sir, which is in fact also the level playing field, which is something very important both within the European Union, and in principle it should be, and we should make sure that we properly implement, our EU regulations so that there is a fair, level playing field for all farmers wherever they live and they work. And then also a level playing field when it comes to imported product from third countries, and that's very essential. And I think that there is an increasing debate in our society, and of course it is a worry for our farmers, but also for our consumers, that it may be that we import products that have not the same standards as the one we produce in Europe. And maybe let me just say a couple of things quickly, which is trade is beneficial in that sense. It is important for us to remain an open European economy, that's for sure. But it needs to be said that there are some important conditions. We, first of all, need to continue to protect our agriculture and the sensitivity of certain products and sectors. That's part of what we said about the importance of having, our autonomy, ensure our food security, and making sure that our farmers are not unfairly exposed to international agricultural markets. So that's why our bilateral EU agreement, are important with quotas and tariffs. So that's very important. We need also to ensure that the imported product also comply with our EU standards, the regulation, so that we don't, with this product, we don't damage, food safety in particular. That's very important for our consumers. So that's why also we need to improve the way it works now. And the Farm to Fork strategy has recognized that. For example, when it comes to pesticides, there are many pesticides which are not authorized in Europe and that are authorized in other regions of the world, part of the world, for many reasons. And some are not authorized, and they may be considered even unsafe for our consumers. So it is important to say that here the Farm to Fork strategy is proposing a new approach where we are going to look at how we can make sure that, we will not only strengthen, or look at safety, food safety when it comes to the import of product containing these pesticides, but also look at the impact on environment, meaning that it's important for us not just to look at safety, but also to look at environment, and that there may be double standards, which is not acceptable for our farmers. It is important also to say that in our future trade agreement, and that's a commitment of the new Commission, we need also to make sure that we will develop in the bilateral EU agreement chapters on food sustainability, on sustainability. So it means not just looking at the fact that we need to have a good deal from an economic point of view, but that as providing leadership when it comes to sustainability, we will also promote sustainability through our trade agreement and encourage our commercial partner also to put in place, roll out, sustainable practices and methods for their production. And last but not least, I think we need not only to be defensive on that subject, but maybe also to be more innovative and offensive. And in particular, I was thinking, when we developed this Farm to Fork strategy, we have thought that it's not just about regulating, it's not just about, making good deals with our partner. Why don't we evaluate, better promote the high level of standards that our production have in Europe? And why don't we develop, a labeling scheme or an information scheme for our consumers so that they can also, when they buy product, recognize that, these products are produced according not only the EU regulation, which is already at a high level of standards in terms of food safety, but also that it respects production methods like animal welfare, respect of the environment, and consumers' expectation. And that's something that we have included in the Farm to Fork strategy, where we want to work with stakeholders and see what could be the different tools, not necessarily public, but can be also private schemes that would help consumers tomorrow to better recognize, not only for organic product, obviously, because it already works for organic product, but how we could help consumers to change their consumption habit and recognize those products for which there has been efforts from the key players in the food chain to produce better respecting the environment, better respecting the climate, better respecting also the position of farmers in the food chain. So all the elements of sustainability. So that's something on which we would like to engage with the key players in the food chain.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Catherine. Another question that occurred to me just in your first statements, both of you, Janitz and Catherine. The topic of today is food system resilience, sustainability, and the COVID-19 crisis. And I was wondering, had there been a problem with the resilience of the food system? Has there been a problem in the past, no, in the very recent past, with the crisis? Or is it now a question of sustainability? Because now we're talking about communicating the qualities and also pricing in the true costs. But had it been also a resilience problem, or everything was there in place, but maybe not with the production as we would like to have it? Janitz or Catherine, please. And then
Depends how you understand resilience. I think it's in the context how you have explained it. It's one context, but I do believe that the whole economic system is actually not very much a resilient system. By the way, we knew many of the things already in advance, including the potential of the health outbreak as we have faced, but we simply did not take the things seriously, and we didn't prepare neither the health systems nor the other systems, nor we have this, which is clearly connected also with how we are handling the biodiversity, how we are handling many of the questions which are connected to, to safety, security rules and so on, which are obviously all questions of this resilience which we would need to create. So if it's one lesson I think we should all learn from this COVID crisis, it's for me pretty simple. So the possibility of the health-related outbreaks, as we are currently seeing, or the extreme weather events which are connected to climate change, will very likely increase. So get ready, get prepared, and when we talk about that, we talk about resilience. If I can just comment one thing, because I think with the logic which we have previously evolved when it comes to the food prices, we are starting the things a bit wrongly. So if you will start with the question, are consumers willing to pay higher prices? You will never make a food system sustainable. So we are functioning on the markets. Markets are getting clear signals. And the fair question, of course, would be if those signals and which are leading to sustainable economies are such that part of our societies cannot afford something which is terribly important that it can afford, that's the food which we all need for our life, how to help them and how to make the things that they can actually afford it. That's a very fair question. But when it comes to the question of the prices itself, when I try to explain in the simplest way what our economy today stands, this is pretty much like that. Productive capital break its financial capital, it's overvalued and over-rewarded. Human capital, it's undervalued and under-rewarded. And natural capital, in many cases, is not valued and not rewarded at all. If somebody thinks that from those signals on the market, we will get an economy and society which is in socio-economic environmental balance, come on, wake up, because this will never happen. So we have to go to the signals which, as long as we are functioning on the markets, and we have to go back to the signals, and we have to start dealing seriously with those questions. And of course, this is immediately then leading to the next question, which some of the gentlemen and ladies also opened already. That's the question, of course, that Europe, it's not functioning in isolated world. So it's the question of how you actually organize level playing field, how you organize standards which everybody is obeying. But again, if there is one lesson which is clear from the COVID-19, and by the way, it's also clear from the European Green Deal, it's that we are for the first time, we are the first generation which is living in the world which is interconnected and dependent of a global scale. So there are no local economies. There are no local problems. We are interconnected. And if we want to solve those questions, we need to cooperate more. And that's essentially what we have to do on EU level, but also on the global level. So that's the last sentence. If you want, the real question with the price is the price which includes the fair production costs, including externalities, and it's providing a decent life for farmers. If that is the price which the market is delivering, it's the right price. If somebody cannot deal with that, help him, treat it, and rather make the distribution of income in different way so that everybody can afford that it could have a price under a fair cost.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I got a question from the audience, which fits right this too. It's from Natasha Food, and it goes to you, Julia. The importance of trade across borders in the EU has been stressed throughout this event, but during the COVID-19 crisis, we have seen the rise of protectionist strategies and sentiments across member states, with many working to promote and support local or national agriculture and discourage imported goods. Is this a concern? How can this be reconciled with the EU's commitment to support free trade? And I went through all the questions people, when registering, submitted, and as well there's many questions pointed in that direction about nationalism, protectionism, and we're talking about interconnection. So what would you say about that, maybe also at the German Council now or whatever?
So this COVID-19 crisis pointed to a fact that is inherent to every economy of the world, for our world economy, namely uncertainty. So we are living in an economy that is interconnected, that is complex and reflexive. So things that are happening in Germany have a lot to do with things that are happening in China and reverse. And if you look at complex dynamic systems, this is what uncertainty is producing. In mathematics or physics or whatever, then you get at points where there is unpredictability, which is a necessary consequence of uncertainty. And in systems that are unpredictable, protectionism is the worst thing you can do.
Why is that?
Because if you start protecting, then you are kind of cutting off the information flow between the parts of the whole system. And then collapses within parts of the system become much more likely than if you leave those connections open. So this is why I believe that this nationalism, this regionalism, this localism that we are at the moment talking about is completely the wrong way. We have to talk about transparency, we have to talk about more information, we have to talk about interconnections, we have to talk about intelligent, digitalized systems, we have to talk about prices that are really transforming information from one part of the system to another part of the system. This mechanism is fundamentally broken, the price mechanism, especially in the food economy, because there is no incentive for a consumer to buy decent food. And there's also no incentive for a farmer to produce decent food, sustainable food. It just does not make sense. And we all believe in a market economy. And if we are serious in that we want to live in a market economy in an open society, then we have to fix the price system. Because the price system is the most fundamental mechanism in economics that is enabling trade, collaboration, and also success in an uncertain economy. So talking about more standards and more regulations, about local food only, does not make sense. We have a lot of people out there that are pretty intelligent, and if they get the right information, then they will take the right decisions. We believe in a rational choice model, usually in economics. At the moment, nobody is believing in rational choice, and I don't get why. Because what the crisis just showed us, the COVID outbreak showed us, yes, of course, there has been struggles, but it could have been much worse. And in a society which would have been less open than our society, it would have been a mass catastrophe. And what I experienced in this crisis was, yes, it was not nice, and a lot of my neighbors really got in trouble, but nobody died out of hunger, nobody died out of empty supermarkets. And of course, there's a lot to do now to recover and to use the Schumpeterian moment to create a new agri-food system that is really fostering sustainable decisions by consumers and farmers in the future, because then they will bring about a new equilibrium by themselves, which is better for society, environment, and also for the economy.
Thank you. I think I need to wrap up because we're already at 3 minutes before time. I know, I just feel like the same. It's like a very interesting discussion, and somehow you have to break it also from Brussels. But to me, it seemed very interesting that not only in the end, but it's in the end because we're living in an economy which functions by prices, then in the end it's a matter of price, no matter if you're a consumer buying things or you a farmer selling things. And I think this question is still not really answered. I hope I don't disagree with any here. I think we need to put these prices more to the type of production and also put the quality inside. And so to answer from the topic of this conference, also working on the sustainability, which is also a big emphasis for the new policy now. I have some questions here left, and I think there's still some questions open, but you can discuss also on social media going on there, and you could discuss also with us. You can send us your questions as well, because it will go on the discussion from FFA online, and also with hopefully live events as well in Brussels again. And so don't stop here, also you. But for today, I want to thank you. 3 speakers here, thank you very much for your contributions. Also in Brussels, thank you, Catherine, thank you, Janitz. And also to you, the audience, you submitted so many questions. I went through them, also the team from FFA, which was behind the scenes and made this all possible. And thank you again to our partners, because in the end, yes, it's about prices and also money, so somebody has to pay for it all. Thank you very much, and hopefully to see you somewhere soon. Bye-bye from Berlin.